Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and this is my review for Black Ink Crew Season 3, Episode 6. So, let's just get started on this goddamn episode. I didn't have my iPad set up correctly, but yeah. So, Black Ink Crew, I'm liking this season. You know what I'm saying? They introduced the new characters. They kind of brought Cobra back. They brought Cobra back. You know, they added Lily. You know, Junior's in the whole mix. They're adding the girlfriends a little bit. Well, as far as four girl, you know, Don's wife, and who else did they add? Oh, Van's girl. You know, they even have like confessionals and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, that this is progressing. You know what I'm saying? It's progressing. I like it. So, you know, the episode starts off where, you know, everybody's at the tattoo shop. And it's after the whole party debacle where Lily was all drunk. So, you know, they're all kind of sitting around laughing. Like, oh, what's the worst thing that you've ever done drunk? So Charmaine, crazy ass, say, well, one time, you know, I lost my virginity. And I'm like, well, how many times? I said the same thing. They said, well, how many times did you lose your virginity? And, you know, she said that she lost her virginity basically when she was drunk. And she knew it was the bad thing to do because she did not have sex again for like another year and a half or something like that. I'm wondering how old was she when she lost her virginity, because how was you drunk? I mean, I'm hoping she was of age and she wasn't like 16 drunk, because that's a little bit weird. So, you know, with that whole conversation, then they, you know what I'm saying, kind of segue into, well, yeah, Junior, what was up with Lily at the party? You know, why was she tripping? And he's like, you know, I don't know. I was trying to talk to her. She kind of wasn't having it. It was a crazy situation. And, you know, Ford was like, no, you know, was y'all kicking it? You know, because she was crying and stuff. So then Ryan like, y'all ain't know, Junior been after Lily since day one. So, you know, he admit like we went on a little date or whatever. You know, Don was like, yeah, you know, she was crying on my shoulder, and I was wondering who I was gonna have to beat up. And then she said, it was Junior. Junior's trying to play me. And they were kind of laughing about it or whatever. Ryan said that he even saw her in his office, you know what I'm saying, tearing up and crying or whatever. So I was like, okay, Lily was really drunk and she was crying. And people know when you get drunk, you get one or two things sometimes. You either get angry or happy, you get angry or happy. Well, no, it's more than one. You get angry, you can be happy, or you can just be emotional. That's what it is. And she was just freaking emotional. So Junior's kind of, you know, not saying that they're a couple or whatever, but this time, like, yeah, we went on a date, you know, just to get to know each other, and we kind of like each other. And he was like, I was trying to talk to her, but she was getting mad because I was talking to other female customers, and she was just tripping. So Charmaine's like, that ain't true, you know what I'm saying? Don't no female be tripping when you ain't be giving her, you know, sex or whatever. So y'all been sleeping together, you know, she tripping because you giving her that good loving. You whispering how you love her in her ear, and he like, you know, I'm not gonna talk about that or whatever. He like, oh my gosh, she gonna kill me, because he kind of let it out the bag that they had been dating, or that they slept together. I mean, y'all slept together, just for the simple fact that she was really somewhere crying. You don't cry over a guy you just went on a date with. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are drunk, you cry because you like, we had sex and I feel something for him, and that's what it was. But I like that he wasn't trying to admit it, and I think it's because he do like her. See, like, I'm not trying to have them think about her in any kind of way, and you know what I'm saying, I like her, so I'm not gonna say anything. So, you know, that was the whole thing of him just saying, you know, it was what it was. The next thing we see is Don and Ashley, and they out on a date at a restaurant. And I'm like, okay, husband and wife trying to get it together. You know, I'm all for black love. I hope they can work it out and be, you know, good and everything. So, you know, Don apologizes for being angry at her when she had that whole bachelorette party situation that the girls took her out to. You know, he admits that he had 2 bachelor parties, and at both his bachelor parties, things got really, really wild. And, you know, I think he slept with a stripper or 2. He at least touched the vagina. I think he did some things, because he said, you know, but that all happened before I got married, and it's kind of in the past. You know, I had 2 wild bachelor parties. She had a wild bachelorette party, and we married now, so we need to move past that and, you know, get on with it. So, you know, that we need to get over it. And they both agree to move on from the situation now. You know, they happy now, whatever. he then goes into, I know how you wanted to quit your job. I know how you wanted to be at home more with the children. And I'm willing to let you do that. And now I'll step up as the man of the house. And now I'll take over those responsibilities. And she's like, oh, thank you. So she's all happy or whatever. And he was like, yeah. And, to, make more income, I'm just going to become a Mad Mac piercer. And she was like, what? Piercing what? Like piercing ears, piercing, she said ears or some childish, basically, or ears or noses. And he was like, no, I will pierce whatever, the person will want. And in her confession, she like, oh, hell no, I don't like that, no. She said to him too, like, no, I don't like you doing that. And in her confession, she was saying, I don't want him piercing anything on females, not no tongues, no nipples, no belly buttons, no coochies, no anything. But my thing is, you can't have it both ways, Ashley. If you want that man to step up and make more money, and he's saying, well, I can make more money by doing piercings. I mean, what you want to do? You want to have your husband? I mean, you got to pick one. You can't have it both ways. He's like, look, because she was saying, like, I don't like that. I don't want you touching no females. I think you bullshitting or whatever. He was like, look, you want to be a stay-at-home mom? You don't want to work. You want me to take everything. This time I'm going to do it, You have no choice, but, this is what has to be done. She say, well, no, okay, I'll let you do this. It's okay, I understand. But my thing is, you should want your man to be, to make money. And if his thing is, if he had a successful shop who don't have a piercer, so he will be the only one doing all the piercings, that makes absolute sense. It's just more money for the household until he can figure out something else to be done. He do tell her, well, okay, but if you have to pierce a girl's, coochie, just imagine her coochie stank, and don't let your marriage finger, your ring finger touch her coochie. Girl, you're so goddamn childish. So that was the whole end of that situation or of that scene. Ashley is just difficult, and whatever. Next we see Lily. She's at home, and her and all 800 of her goddamn family members are all in the same house. I mean, it was at least 50 people in that dang on room. I mean, that house has to be a goddamn duplex, because there was a lot of people in the house. So as she's there with her family, Junior pops up. So the first thing I say is, Junior, how you know where she stay? You been to her house before? You know what I'm saying? We know you been over there, so y'all must have did some things. So, he pops up, and all her family kind of looking at him like, what you doing here? And he does she does say that he does say she must have told them about him, because they all looking at him as if they know who he is. It was a very awkward scene to seeing, 40 people look at one person like, what you doing here? And I kept thinking, like, well, damn, do they all live there? Like, what's going on? But I'm pretty sure they were just having a family night, and they were all over just visiting. And even she like, what you doing here? And he like, can we go have a conversation, in private? So they go in the other room they go in the kitchen to have a conversation, and she's like, what you doing here? And he like, oh, so I got all discombobulated. He like, look, I'm here to figure out what's going on. At the party, you was acting all crazy. You were crying, you were emotional. You didn't want to talk to me. I'm trying to figure out what's the problem. Like, I thought we was, hitting it off. She's like, I was drunk, so I'm sorry. And I was tripping. But she then goes on to say, a reason why she did that was because in her drunkenness, she felt like he was playing her, even though he really wasn't. And she's like, and it just triggered something in her that reminded her of an old abusive relationship. And she was saying how it just reminded her of how the person was, mentally abusive, physically abusive, and it was a very, very bad situation. And that person, my water just cracks, and that person tried to play her. So she kind of got emotional more over what she thought it was versus what Junior did. And she's like, I want something real. I don't want someone trying to play me. I've been through too much in life. I'm not trying to go backwards. I want a relationship with someone, so I don't want to be with somebody who that's not what they're looking for. And I get it. What she's saying is, basically, we had sex. Okay? We had sex, and after we had sex, it seemed like he was flirting with other women. That ain't what I'm looking for. I want you to only be flirting with me. And I get that's what she mean. And it's cool that she just went about it the wrong way. So He like, you know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I like you too. You know, I like you from the moment I saw you in Philly. I was instantly feeling you. I was happy when you came, you know, to Chicago. And, you know, let me show you that I want something real too. You know, let me show you how you should be treated. And I'm like, go ahead, Junior, spit that gun, you little sexy little thing, you. And she like, okay, you know, but don't play me. He like, I won't play you. Just give me the chance to show you that I can be something real. And my thing is, and they start kissing or whatever. You know, so my thing is, I think that's how some relationships should start. You have to give that person a chance to prove what they could be. Even if it don't work out, you can't go into it thinking it won't work out. You got to go into it like, you know what I'm saying? This could be what it's supposed to be. So you have to kind of go into it with both eyes open to see, you know what I'm saying, to realize what it is, but not be like, okay, he trying to play me for this. But you also can't be stupid, you know what I'm saying, and let shit slide. You know, what Junior was doing was just, he wasn't trying to play her really. He was just being friendly with females, and he just didn't think about it. But I think now that they had this conversation, he would think before he acts, because he know, I got this girl that I like, and I want to be with her. So that was all well and good. So the next thing we see, Van is, Van and Jen, his girlfriend, are at like a restaurant or something. And they're just having conversations. You know, she bring up how she's about to turn 30, and he like, okay, why women make such a big deal about being 30? Because it's, you know, it's a milestone. You know, you have that 30-year-old epiphany. So, you know, she brings up, you know, I'm about to turn 30, and for my 30th birthday, I would really like to get engaged. And he like, what? So he acting on like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, he having heart palpitations, he's sweating, and he all like, I don't know, you know. And, you know, she like, you know, I wanted a ring as of yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the path that I'm trying to be on. So in her confession, she's saying how, you know, me and Van been together for 8 years. I'm like, damn, bitch, 8 years? And he acting like that at the mention of marriage. If you've been with somebody for 8 years, one or two things have already happened. Y'all either have both already, y'all know that y'all gonna be just dating forever. Like, I had an aunt and uncle who dated, I mean, from the time when I was a kid. They didn't get married until I think I was in my 20s. So they dated for a good 20 years. But you like Oprah and Stedman, Goldie Hawn and her man. You know, certain people, they do just date forever, and it's not that they don't want to marry the person, but they both agree this works for them. You know what I'm saying? So you can have two people who don't want to get married, but who want to be together forever, and, you know, and they're in a committed relationship. You have other people who just want to lay up and play like husband and wife forever. It's because, you know, either the guy or the girl don't want to get married. But it's always one of the persons who don't want to get married. The other person wants to get married, and they're just waiting for the other person. I mean, I'm not dating nobody for 8 years waiting for a ring. You know what I'm saying? If we've been dating, I'll give it 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Because you might, you know, give us some time to get over that whole honeymoon phase, to make sure they're not, you know, a crazy murderer. You know, I don't think 4 years is a long time to be able to get to know someone really, and to be sure that you want to spend the rest of your life with them. But within them 4 years, we have had conversations about, do we want to get married, and if we're on a path to getting married. We're not going to be together 8 years later and we having a conversation about marriage, and you act like I'm asking you to cut off your goddamn leg and burn it at the stake. No, brother, that's not what's going to happen. So I almost feel like she crazy for staying with him for 8 years and never having this conversation, because I'm pretty sure if they talked about it before and he acted the same way, she would hopefully be smart enough to leave, to know that he ain't even about marriage life. But whatever, I got all off track. So she just said, you know, I've been with him through jail time, through, you know, all his crazy and stuff about his daughter. Through crazy stuff, comma, his daughter, comma, and just things that he's been through over the past 8 years. But what I thought was dumb that she said was, she was like, I mean, damn, it's just marriage. It's not that serious. First of all, marriage is very fucking serious. Marriage is not like when you dating somebody. When you dating somebody, you can just break up and not care. You can't do that when you marry. When you marry, it's a serious ass situation that you can't say it's just marriage. No, that's why people get married and they don't think it's gonna be, you know, anything different, and they fuck around and get divorced. Okay, so it's not something simple. he's quiet. You know, he's not really responding, saying, well, yeah, we should get married, or yeah, we can talk about marriage. You know, in his confession, he's saying, you know, I really love her. I really do love her. We've been together for a while, but I don't want to get married yet. So Van, what does he suggest? He suggests to get a goddamn puppy. Van, shut up. So, you know, that was the whole thing. They didn't come to any kind of resolution. She said she wanted to get engaged when she turned 30. He said, let's get a puppy. Potato, potato. The next thing we see is something simple. We see Danielle, Cobra, and Charmaine going to a gay bar, a lesbian bar, because Cobra has came out as bisexual, and she wants to dip her bisexual toe in the lady pond. And so they're taking her there because they're lesbians who are not, they're like fake lesbians. Meaning they mess around with girls, but they really like boys. So I call them kind of people greedy. So, you know, Cobra seems to be very awkward fighting with women. And I just think of her, it was just awkward. You know, she walked up to one woman, well, two women, and asked if she can buy them drinks. And they were like, we're asking on a date. Awkward. Then, you know, Charmaine have her go talk to another person who happens to be black and say, you know, walk up to her and call her a Nubian black queen. And Cobra does that, and the girl like, oh, thanks. And it was, for a good 2 seconds, it seemed like it was going to go somewhere until Cobra burped in the girl's face. Can't do that. It's nasty. And she kind of just walks away. So, you know, that was a whole not good situation. So, from there, they start talking about Ryan, and Kat. And so they realized that Kat, I guess, has went back to LA, but she haven't said anything to anyone. And they like, you know, that's kind of crazy. So Danielle then said, you know, well, last year, she's like, no, I know how you said that you thought something happened between them at the cabin. She was like, you know, not to tell any secrets. She was like, but Kat told me that last year her and Ryan had a thing. Cut to the flashback of Kat and Danielle talking, and Kat is saying, yeah, last year we kind of was, you know, talking or trying to talk, and she's like, but I didn't know that he was also getting close again with his baby mom. And she was like, and so they end up getting together, and me and him just kind of stopped talking, so it was kind of crazy on my end. Meaning he stopped talking to her because he started talking to his baby mama. And so Danielle says that's one of the reasons why she moved to LA. And I'm like, Danielle a whole stitch on these streets. I mean, she really told the whole, because it's like, you know, sorry, Kat, for telling, but, you know, Charmaine is a shark, so if she knows something going on, you know, she's not going to stop until she figures out what it is. So I'm like, well, damn, well, okay, I won't tell you no goddamn secrets. So, you know, it's that whole realization, and Charmaine, of course, is going to dig into it a little deeper. The next thing we see is Don Jr. and Danielle go look at, you know, a person who does piercings, so that Junior says he's taking Don so that Don can see piercings is more than just, you know, bing. You know, it's a whole process to it to be sure that he's aware of what goes into piercing. And, you know, the tattoo guy, well, the piercing guy was like, okay, you know, you want to see me pierce your nipple? And so Don, dumbass, gonna say, well, yeah, because I ain't seen somebody else's nipple in a while. You done seen plenty of nipples. Okay, we ain't gonna act like that. So they go into the room. The guy does the piercing, and you know Don doesn't flinch. I mean, he was looking like he wanted to lick her nipple. Honestly, if you ask me, he was just like, he was all into the goddamn nipple, and you know he like, okay, that's not that bad. I can deal with it. So from there, they got like, we want to see something, you know, some next level stuff. Man, they go into a bathroom and they're piercing a girl's back, like, but putting hooks in her back. And I'm like, oh my god. So, you know, Don was freaking out, Junior was freaking out, Danielle was freaking out. They then say, you know, they're gonna put her like in a harness and chains or something. I'm like, what the hell going on here? Man, this girl had the hooks that was in her back, and she was swinging from the ceiling like a goddamn pinata. And the hooks were in her. I mean, I've seen it before, so I wasn't like 100% like, oh my god. But I still was like, oh my god. You know, I was like, oh, I just don't, you know, it was just so disgusting. But, you know, Don does say that regular tattooing, he thinks he can do that, so that's fine. The next thing we see is Ryan. I think it was Ryan, Van, Charmaine, and Danielle are at the shop, and they're talking or whatever. So Charmaine just was like, "So Ryan, what happened with you and Kat at the lake house?" And they like, and he'll like, "Damn, Charmaine, you just gonna bring it up like that?" So he was like, "What?" And so she's like, "I could have swore I saw y'all, in the bathroom together." And he was like, "Look, I was in the bathroom. I was in the shower. She came in trying to have a conversation with me." And he was like, she wasn't even in there but, a minute. And I told her, you need to leave. You need to leave, because if you don't, they're going to think something going on in here. I believe him 50%. You know what I'm saying? Solely because the cameras would know. I think if something would have happened, the cameras would have followed her to the bathroom and would have showed she went in there and she came out 15 minutes. They like to show stuff like that. I think it probably was that quick, which is why the cameras didn't show, 15 minutes later. And then she was coming out. So, I believe it a little bit, but I wasn't there. I don't know that lady. Anything could have happened. So that was his story, and he's sticking to it. So Charmaine are like, I think something happened. I don't know why he lying. How you know something happened, Sway? How? How, Sway? You wasn't in the bathroom. You were downstairs getting drunk and tipsy and doing whatever else. So you don't know what happened in that bathroom. All you do know is that she was in that bathroom. So you know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing. You don't know now. So she's like, but I heard y'all hooked up before the lake house. So Ryan, again, it's like, last year, you talking about that, he like, yeah, we was kicking it a little bit. He was like, it was just a few moments. It was almost like some drunken stuff. He like, but at the same time, I just started getting back with Rachel, my baby mama. And he was like, so once I figured out I had an actual chance with Rachel, I just stopped talking to Kat. I left it alone, and that's what it was. And I left Kat alone because I've been trying. I had already invested 13 years with Rachel, and that was the love of my life. So I was happy that I could get that back. He was like, but me and Kat wasn't nothing. He did say that they didn't have sex, which means maybe she gave him head, maybe he gave her head. I'm thinking they at least, was kissing and making out, but supposedly they didn't have sex. But whatever. So Charmaine was acting like, Kat got her story, Ryan got his story, as if Ryan was denying it. And I'm looking like it's basically the same goddamn story. Kat said last year we was kicking it. I didn't know he was also getting close with his baby mama. And once he was, we stopped talking. Ryan said that, but the only thing difference was that Kat was saying how she was catching feelings, where Ryan was saying he didn't know she was catching feelings because he wasn't. It was just some drunken stuff that they were doing. So I'm like, it ain't that they have two different stories. Just one person caught feelings quicker than the other person. Ryan still said the exact same thing. We was kicking it a little bit, but once I got, with Rachel, I left her alone. You know what I'm saying? He admitted he just stopped talking to her. So it wasn't like it was two different stories. But Ryan then says, I don't know what the big deal is. Kat didn't mess with everybody. She kissed Ford before, she kissed Van before, and me. And they was like, Van, you kissed her too? So Van was laughing because, yes, they also kissed. I'm like, so Kat, it's like a pass. I don't want to say she a pass around. But if you kissed or you messed around with 3 guys in the tattoo shop, and it's only 3 guys that work there, you need to stop that. Even if you did start messing with Ryan a little bit closer to the time you were leaving, that's still too close to home, boo-boo. Keep your kitty cat to yourself and keep your ass in LA. But I'm like, that's also like you tripping about 4 and how he was messing with the girl, his girlfriend, where y'all was kind of kicking it. So does everybody talk to you for a minute and leave you for somebody else? Whatever. I ain't gonna say. Let me leave it alone. There's a little scene, where Charmaine's mom came to visit. She just made a joke about how when Charmaine was a kid, she took her to get evaluated for mental issues, but the people said she was okay. I thought that was funny. But anywho, this little part, Junior does a tattoo on this lesbian lady who is getting her wife's name tattooed on her arm, and she's saying because the wife doesn't have much support from her family is kind of mean to her. She was like, so I'm getting a tattoo, to show her how dedicated I am to her and that I ain't going nowhere. You know, Junior brings up how he has met a girl, how he wants to really be with her, and he's happy to see someone else say how good commitment can be, and how you can be in love and stuff. He does say in his confession, you know, he's never been big on commitment, but he really likes Lily, so he wants to take this chance, you know, that he hopes. He said it could be a really bad idea. He like, but it can also be the best idea ever. You know, I hope it all works out. I do too, basically. Next thing we see is Van is at, I guess, his house, and we see his girlfriend Jen come in. So Van is like, I think he was like lifting weights or something. Jen come in. You could tell there was tension in the room, because she walked in and she like, oh, it ain't no food. And he like, well, nah, I did cook some stuff, but me and so-and-so ate it. You ain't saving me no food. And it was that whole thing. And then he's like, I just want to come in here and smoke my hookah. And he like, oh, well, ain't no hookah stuff left. And she like, can you go get some? And it was kind of a tit for tat, back and forth, kind of weird. I just got off work. I'm tired, and a frustrated argument that people have sometimes. I know when I come home from work, I be like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with somebody in my goddamn own space. That's why I always suggest, if you date somebody, date a person who has their own space. They're not trying to invade your space all the time. So, you know, they're kind of going back and forth a little bit. And he like, well, I'm tired. I don't feel like going to get no hookah stuff. And she like, if you tired, why you lifting weights? It's just like, that is very fucking true. But some people, when they tired and frustrated, they do work out. You know, my best friend, she goes to the gym every day. And when she having tough days, she's like, I can work out and I feel great. So they're kind of arguing back and forth. And Van kind of blurts out, like, you know, I just need my own space. You know, sometimes I want to come home and I don't want to have to share my house. I want to just have my house to myself. And she like, you know, after 8 years of us being together, you know, you shouldn't want your own space. You shouldn't want to be by yourself. I disagree with that, because even if you are with somebody for 8 years, everyone at one point or another wants to be to themselves. They don't always want to be in someone's space. I have the best time with, you know, when I'm dating somebody and we can be in the house together. We in 2 different rooms. If you upstairs and I'm downstairs, you in the bedroom, I'm in the living room, or you in one room. Just because sometimes you want to be to yourself, to have your own thoughts, but you want the other person in the area. That's hard when you have an apartment and it's not that much space. So even if you are in 2 separate rooms, it's still like you're not by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where she needs to understand, just because he wants his own space doesn't necessarily mean it's because he don't want to be with you. You know what I'm saying? Even though the next thing that he said was that he needed some space. And more than just, like, he said it as if he wants to break up. Truth be told, that's how he said it. And she's like, what you mean you want some space? And he's like, I just want some space. I need some time. So she was kind of crying, like, I can't believe you would say that after all this time. And he also said, you know, I don't want to get married right now. Yes, I do want to marry you later on down the line, but I don't see it right now. She cried a couple tears. She's like, all right, you want some space? You want some time? I'll show you space, you know, and she leaves. And at the point in time, I guess, you know, he was happy or whatnot. But I'm like, again, I don't know if they should be together. Because if y'all have been together for 8 years and he don't want to get married, he want his own space. He don't like sharing his own space. He don't say you no goddamn food. He don't say you no goddamn hookah stuff. I mean, those are all telltale signs that he really ain't trying to be committed. Or he don't want to be married. Because, I mean, like, when you dating someone and y'all working towards marriage, if you cook some food, you make a plate for your person. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're your homie, eat up everything else, you put a plate. When I make dude plate, if I make a plate, dude plate gets made first. It's in the microwave. Or it's in the oven. Because that's just a thoughtful thing that you do. If I'm going out to get myself some t-shirts, I'm going to get him some white beaters and some t-shirts and some socks. Because, I mean, you just think about that other person like that. But not Van, not Jen. It's kind of crazy. So, the next thing we see, Forrest having a show he's performing. So, the whole gang is going to the show. We see Junior and Lily, who are a couple now. So, they're kind of going out for the first time with everyone in the tattoo shop. And Lily like, you know, I think the guys would be cool with it. Just don't you be extra flirtatious with nobody. And Junior kind of laughs. They're a cute little couple. They were like, you know, hugging and dancing up in there. So that's cute. We see Van get there and he's talking to Charmaine and I think Charmaine and Danielle. And they like, well, where Jen at? And he like, I don't know, she's not here. And he kind of, bypassed the conversation. They're like, what's that about? In his confession, he said, I don't want to tell them what's going on with me and Jen because I think it's our business and they don't need to be in it. Okay, man, whatever. 4 performers. It seems like everyone really did enjoy the show. His girlfriend was there. Ryan was there. Cobra was there. Don and Ashley was there. And then, of course, Junior and Lily was there. So, Jen then walked in with a date. Charmaine and them said, like, what the fuck? Van said, like, what the fuck? And she walked in, and as she walked in, she walked right past Van without talking to him. She don't even speak. She go up to Charmaine and them. And they like, who is this? And she's like, oh, this is my friend Ben. And then they like, do Van know? I mean, she was like, what you talking about? So then Van gets up, and he's like, what you doing? And she's like, oh, Ben is Van, Van is Ben. I'm like, this bitch got balls. Okay, Jen. Okay, I got you, boo. So Van, his confession, like, I'm wondering who the fuck this man is walking in with my woman. Well, first of all, is she really a woman? Because you told her you needed space. You basically broke up with her. And in Jen's confession, she said the same thing. She was like, you basically broke up with me, so why are you concerned with who I'm here with? I mean, of course she brought him to make Van mad. We know that clearly. But at the same time, that's what you do when your man acts stupid. You let him see, I don't need you. I can keep it moving. So, she telling Van he need to calm down and not be talking to Ben. And he kind of get huffy and puffy at her like, don't you tell me what to do? You shut up. I can say what I want to say because what you doing here? What's going on? He then pulled Ben to the side. He like, hey, my dude, what's up? Who are you? He like, I'm Ben. I'm her friend. And then he like, well, where you meet her at? Because in his confession, he said, this not her friend. We've been together for 8 years. I know all her friends. He ain't one of them. So when he said, well, y'all meet, how did y'all meet? He was like, through a mutual friend. And out of nowhere, Van pushes the guy. I mean, he pushed him hard, out the blue, for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Van, I don't know if he got a goddamn Napoleon complex or what. So when he pushed the guy, security instantly swoop in. They kind of separate everybody. And, Gina's saying, why would you do that? That was crazy. And then I swear, like, it was just like a melee. You see Don walking up close to the guy, security pushing him back, and Don saying, don't be pushing on me, talk. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is all this going on? You see Ford trying to get to Don. You see Ryan being pushed back. You hear security saying, I got Ford, I got Don, I got Ryan, I got. And it was just like a fight broke out. I don't know what happened or how it happened. They don't show anyone throwing any punches. They don't show anyone doing anything except it's just a big ass melee. And that's how the episode goes off. So, crazy. I can't wait to see next week. But again, I am Jay Lee. That was my review of Chicago Inc. Black Ink Crew Chicago. Lord Jesus. Until next time, people.